On September 11th, I woke up. Well, I got woken up by a phone call, and it was from my future wife, who said, "Hey, did you hear the World Trade Center is gone?" Which made no sense at all. And and then she said a plane crashed into it, and I think, like a lot of people, I thought that meant, like, some small plane crashed into it. They'll have to fix two or three of the windows, and that'll be it. And then I tried to turn on the TV, and it wouldn't come on because, like, all the connections were off, everything, the reception. And then I finally saw it and found out that, yes, indeed, there was this attack. And what I remember, on that day, I went into the elevator and there was a guy standing there, and we just kind of looked at each other and shrugged our shoulders like there was nothing to say. Um, what my favorite thing, not my favorite thing, but what always stuck with me though, is on the news. They were showing, they had some guys, a film from some guy's camera. He had his camera on when the plane was crashing into the tower, and you could hear someone in the crowd go, "Oh fuck!" And when they get back to the news, man, the anchor man, he says, "We really have to apologize for that. We didn't have a chance to see the film first, and we just put it on, so we apologize for the obscenity." So the obscenity, and I'm thinking, we just watched 3,000 people get murdered, and the obscenity was, "Oh, fuck." And that, where your priorities are in a case like that. And I remember for the longest time, in the streets, there was like black clouds going over this city, and it went on for a while.
You were one of the first entertainers to perform after 9/11. How many days later was that Friars Roast? It was the Friars Roast at the 21 Club for Hugh Hefner, was it?
Yeah, they were having a roast of Hugh Hefner. At first, they were going to cancel it, because, I mean, nobody wanted to get on a plane, certainly. And but then they decided to do it. And yeah, I was there. It was just a few days later. So the whole world was in shock, New York especially. And so we decided to go ahead and do this anyway. So I went on. I started by saying, well, tonight I'll be using my Muslim name, Hasan bin Laden. And that went over fine, but nobody, the audience was very tense. I mean, basically, you could feel the tension in the room that you could cut through with a knife. And I wanted to address the elephant in the room, and my way is through a bad taste joke. And so I said, I have to leave early tonight. I have to catch a flight to LA. I couldn't get a direct flight. We have to make a stop at the Empire State Building. So this got boos and hisses, and you hear tables moving around, chairs, and mumbling and angry grumbling, and gasping, and one guy yelled out, "Too soon," which I thought meant I didn't take a long enough pause between the setup and the punchline. And so this, I'm standing up there after this joke for what feels like 200 years. I lost that much. And then I figured, what the hell? Go to the next level of hell. And I start telling the aristocrats joke, which is a joke about incest and bestiality. And the audience starts laughing. They're like laughing hysterically. People are laughing, pounding on the table, and it's like uh some some writer in one of the papers said it's like I performed a mass tracheotomy on the crowd. And it was like now they were breathing again. They were laughing and, like I said, pounding on the table, and I was stretching it out longer and longer. And it proved that uh a terrorist attack, bad taste, incest and bestiality, good taste. And then they were like cheering when I got off. And it was like it showed that they needed that. People criticize doing jokes at certain times, but they needed that. It's just like when you're at a funeral, uh, the person on stage, the person at the podium will be talking, and they'll eventually start saying embarrassing things that the deceased did, and people will start laughing uncomfortably. And you'll see a lot of people sitting there where someone leans over to the person next to them and says something with a smirk, and the other person will go, no, supposed
Uh,
to, but it's just a natural reflex.
You bring up a good point, and I've heard that before as well. Too soon to joke about that. Is there such a thing as too soon, in your opinion?
I always felt like, what office and what computer do you check that tells you the correct date to do a joke? It's like, to me, a too soon joke is more tasteful than a joke that comes later. Like now you could do a joke about the Titanic and no one's going to get offended by it. You could do a joke about Lincoln assassination, and no one's going to get offended. So basically, when you do a joke like that, when you joke about the Titanic, you're saying, "Oh, okay, a lot of people drowned out in the middle of the ocean, but it's years later. Fuck them." That's basically it. And I think when you do a bad taste joke right around the time it happens, or when it's still fresh in people's minds, part of the joke is that, oh, how could you joke about a thing like this? So I feel like bad taste jokes have the apology in them already, that they're saying, yeah, that bad taste jokes say, hey, I'm a bad taste joke.
Preparing for, see, I don't even know how you prepare for any of your stand-ups, which are brilliant and hilarious. But heading into that particular night, the Hugh Hefner roast, just days after 9/11, what were you thinking about with jokes? Or do they just come out?
Yeah, I had some come out, some I prepared, some I remember Ice-T uh was on before me, and he started talking about, yeah, I'm gonna kill some of you white motherfuckers, and I'm gonna rape you white bitches. And I went up and it just popped into my head, and I said, Ice-T did my whole act. But I'm going to do it anyway because I have nothing else prepared. So I'm going to kill some of you white motherfuckers. and rape some of you white bitches. And that they liked. But yeah, it's a funny thing when that happened, you're thinking, Jesus, is this is it over now for entertainment? Is it over for telling jokes? Is everything over with now? And luckily it wasn't.
What was going through your mind when you brought down the house and people just couldn't stop laughing and couldn't contain themselves? What were you thinking then?
It was a great moment because I mean, I was like standing up there thinking, oh, well, I just ended my career just now. And then to hear and how powerful the laughter was. And it's like basically everybody was laughing because they needed to. And I always feel like uh, uh, comedy and tragedy are roommates. And wherever tragedy's around, comedy is standing right behind it, sticking its tongue out. And so that's yeah. So I was an amazing moment up there to hear that kind of laughs.
Thank you, Gilbert.